So today it's going to be Boris Johnson and the Queen. What is with that relationship? I hope you like the video. If you do like the video, please do like it. If you haven't subscribed, it's an immense help if you would subscribe, and I really would appreciate it if you can do that. Thank you. But anyway, thank you so much just for watching.
Wow! Cool!
I've got an itch I can't scratch, I'm missing a piece that...
Hi, I'm Mark, and this is my journey through tarot. Come on. So Boris Johnson, I mean, did anyone really imagine, let's say, I don't know, 10 years ago, that this fella could ever become prime minister? I don't know. I can't imagine that myself, but I never thought Trump could be president of the United States. So there you go. I just feel like sometimes it's really useful to get where we're going once we know where we've been. And that's kind of the theory I use when I give you a little information about the folks that we're reading on. This is just wiki information, and I hope it's interesting to you. It was certainly very interesting to me, and here it is. So we'll jump right into it, but there's just one line here that's a little useful. In 1963, before he was even born, Boris's parents moved to the United States. I had no idea. Now in 1964, in fact, Alexander Boris de Pfeffel Johnson was born on June 19th. Now don't get at me for the pronunciation of that name. I do well just to get through a sentence. So he's born on June 19th, so he's a Gemini and born in Manhattan, New York City, USA. You know, in the United States, you can't be a president if you weren't born in this country. So that's very interesting. Now, his 23-year-old father was studying economics at Columbia University, and his 22-year-old mother was an artist from a family of intellectuals. In 1965, Mom returned to England to study at Oxford and lived with Alexander Boris, because he was known really then by Alexander. That's his first name, and Boris is his second name. So for a little bit here, I'll be referring to him as Alexander Boris. But they lived in a suburb of Oxford, and she gave birth to a daughter. Now, she was born in the UK, and they all moved to North London. Now, in 1966, they relocated back to Washington, D.C., and USA, where Dad worked at the World Bank. And in 1967, a third child was born, a boy, again in the United States, and they moved to Connecticut. So let's see here. Now, in 1969, they returned to England near to Somerset and his father's remote family home in the West Country. The kids were raised by mom and au pairs, and as a child he suffered from deafness, had several operations to insert grommets into his ears. The kids engaged in highbrow stuff, and high achievement was greatly valued. Okay, his earliest ambition was to be a world king. And with no other friends except just each other, their siblings, the kids became very close. Now, in 1970, Mom and the kids returned to Nethercote. I'm sure I'm not pronouncing that right, but Nethercote. And in 1971, a fourth child was born, the third son, and so yeah, that's 1971. Now, in 1973, they moved to Brussels, where Boris learned to speak French. And in 1975, his mother had a nervous breakdown, and the kids went back to England, attending preparatory boarding school in East Sussex. And in 1977, Alexander Boris got a King's Scholarship to Eton College and boarding school, and began using his middle name, Boris. Plus, he developed that eccentric English persona that he's so well known for. The school said he was idle, complacent, late, and popular with the wealthy classes. After leaving Eton, Boris took a gap year in Australia, and he taught English and Latin at an outward-bound inspired campus of an elite independent boarding school. And he won a scholarship for, oh my goodness, Balliol College, I'll put the spelling up there, Oxford, to study the classics, ancient literature, classic philosophy. In 1978, his parents' relationship broke up. Now, in 1980, they divorced, and Mom moved to a West London flat with the other three kids for most of their time. And in 1983, Boris, as he now calls himself, began a relationship with a cover girl for Tatler magazine, and they became engaged. In 1987, they were married and accompanied by a violin and viola duet that was named Allegra e Boris, especially commissioned for the wedding. And the two settled in West Kensington, West London. He worked for a management consultancy company and resigned after just 1 week. Family connections got him work as a trainee at the Times, where he invented a quote for an article. He invented a quote for an article on an archaeological discovery of King Edward II's palace. They dismissed him. Oh, he lied. It wasn't a quote. So he lied about this quote. He invented it. So he invented a quote for the archaeological discovery of King Edward II's palace. They dismissed him. He got a job at the Daily Telegraph. You know, you'd think I know this stuff. I have written it after all. Anyway, 1989, at the Daily Telegraph's Brussels bureau until 1974, and after as a Eurosceptic journalist. He wrote Euromyths, like the EU wanting to standardize condom sizes because Italians had smaller penises, and that Brussels had sniffers to ensure that Euro manure smells the same. And Eurocrats were about to dictate, this is another of his myths, you were about to dictate the acceptable curve of bananas and the limits on the power of vacuum cleaners. Plus, they would order women to return their old sex toys. He wrote that Euro money made people impotent and sick, and someone stated that he was the greatest fake journalist. He opposed banning handguns after a school massacre, even. So, good old Boris. In 1990, his wife left him. And in 1993, they divorced, and he married a childhood friend, and soon she birthed a daughter. And they had 3 more children, surnamed Johnson Wheeler. So his name Wheeler, her name, Johnson Wheeler. In 1975, a recorded phone conversation went public, and the caller said that his own criminal activities in insurance fraud were being investigated by a News of the World journalist, and asked Boris to provide that journalist's private address in order to have him beaten. A couple of black eyes and cracked rib or something like that. Boris agreed. In 1999 through 2005, he was editor of The Spectator magazine, and in 2001 he was elected to Parliament. Come on. In 2004, HarperCollins published his first novel, 72 Virgins, a comedy of errors revolving around the life of a conservative MP with various autobiographical elements. And tabloids revealed that since 2000, Johnson had been having an affair with a columnist, resulting in 2 terminated pregnancies. So, of course, in 2008, he was elected as mayor of London. In 2012, he was re-elected as mayor, and in 2019, he was elected conservative leader and appointed prime minister. And in 2020, the United Kingdom withdrew from the EU, thank you, Boris, and the COVID-19 pandemic impacted, and his government used emergency powers and introduced mitigation moves. Initially, he reacted slowly and resisted lockdown, and the vaccination program was the world's first. So what an opposing bunch of circumstances that somehow have worked out for the pandemic. Well, we just have to go to the cards. What else is there left to do? So this is one of my favorite decks, the Golden Tarot by Cat Black, who's an Australian artist, and this is all digital here. I love this box. I mean, look how special it is, and it's easy to get the stuff out and use it. I mean, it's like a little presentation. There's no fumbling at all. So, except when I use it. Now, the booklet is pretty good too. Cat Black has written this, it seems like, and so there's a good explanation in the front as to her concept for the artwork, which is amazing. It's about from the 12 to the 1500s, what she uses in here, which is like cut and paste digital artwork. And then in the back, it talks about her, and she's a webmaster, an author, an artist, and she actually lives in Western Australia with her cat Ellie, by the way. So. And I love my tarot reader, Ellie Dreams Down Under, so she'd be tickled to know this, I think. So anyway, let's look at the cards. My other favorite reader, Violetta, uses these cards exclusively. They're the only cards she'll use. So there you go. They're beautiful, though, and they're not hard to handle. They're a little slicky, and when they're new, they're very gilded on the edge, and then as you use them, of course, that starts wearing off, which is sad. But they're beautiful, they're easy to read, they're Rider-Waite iconography, and you can figure out what the card means without any problem whatsoever. And I actually read that Cat Black, the artist, got her first tarot cards when she was 15. So, she's someone who designed it with, practical knowledge at hand, not just commissioned to do the art, I think. So anyway, I love these. I hope this is interesting for some of you to look at the different cards when I do this, and it's a good way to mix them up. And so there we go. We'll get this game going here. Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 questions about Boris. My goodness, how in the world is it that these people rise to the top? I mean, he's just nothing in the history that I read from Wiki. I guess that's accurate. Seems like the makings of a prime minister to me. But before we do anything, let's have just a moment of meditation. Okay. So Boris. What in the world? Several of these will just be 3 card, and then the last one will be a full Celtic cross. And we'll see if we can tune into Boris Johnson. Boris Johnson. What can the universe tell me about Boris? Okay. So the first question is, did Johnson know in advance about that event where people were in his garden drinking and eating and congregating without masks and during the pandemic and against the advice that his government gave the people? Did Johnson know about the event in advance? 3 cards. But I guess there's some skepticism about that and the way he's answered that question already. So let's see what the universe can tell us about that. Did Boris Johnson know about that event in advance? First card. The moon. Secrets being revealed. This is interesting. Too soon for me to give that some weight either way. The next card. 7 of 4. Theft and betrayal. So, this is lies. And then the third card is abuse of power. So yeah, he knew. So secrets being revealed. The secret is that, yeah, he knew, and he was worried about that. The second card, theft and betrayal. And the third card, 5 of Swords, abuse of power. All of that means that, yeah, he knew about it. Okay, so the next question, also this will be 3 cards. Did Johnson know in advance the event was taking place in his own garden? Did he know that this thing was going to happen in his own garden? And I guess these are questions that have been posed to Johnson already, and he's given some sort of an answer. So we'll just see how this comes out. If you live in England and watch the news, you probably know about this series of questioning. And this is interesting to know anyway. Did Johnson know in advance that the event was going to take place in his own garden? I'm making him, I guess, even more responsible. So 3 cards. 1, 2, 3. Did Johnson know this thing was going to take place in his own garden? My goodness. The first card, 3 of Cups. Oh yeah, this is a garden party. Yeah, these people are celebrating. They're having a drink. There's music playing. They're at a garden party. Yeah, the second question. Illusion and delusion. 7 of Cups. So yeah, apparently this is what he was counting on. And then the third card here is the Wheel of Fortune, hoping that he would, make it through this thing without being discovered. Pretty clear. So did Boris Johnson know in advance the event was taking place in his garden? And the first card out of the rack is a garden party with people drinking and laughing and having a fun time. Illusion and delusion is what he was leaning on to make sure this didn't come out, or hoping this wouldn't come out. And hoping it wouldn't come out is what the Wheel of Fortune is telling us about. That's what he was depending on, and it didn't work out quite that way for him, did it? Karma catches up with us. The third question is good. How frequently does Boris Johnson drink at work? And we're not talking about dinners with elites where you have how often does he just the equivalent, pull a bottle out of the drawer at work and have a slug, or maybe too many? How frequently, not just does he drink at work, does he over drink at work? How frequently does he over drink while he's working? 1, 2, 3. How frequently does he overdrink at work? Interesting. First card, Okay, Eight of Swords. So Eight of Swords, this is truth, justice, rules, and law. This is feeling as if you're trapped by all of that. And so this is anxiety, is what this card is depicting here. So this would indicate that there's a good deal of anxiety that he feels. And when you have that much anxiety, you're looking for a way out. Next card up is Four of Swords. Okay. This just reminds me of being in bed with a hangover, I hate to say. Again, truth, justice, rules, and law are all threatening him to get up, and he better stay down for his own good. And the last card is a Two of Coins, which is, taking your value, finding a way to balance it. And I would say that this is probably not an infrequent event. This shows here, to the question, how frequently does he drink at work, feeling, trapped by all of the law, all of the responsibility that's around him. The second card shows this is just a hangover. You tell me that this is not a hangover. And then the third card is, yeah, I think he does it as often as he thinks he can get away with it. That's what that says to me. Let me know what it says to you, but that's what it says to me. The fourth question, another three card, is the Prime Minister going to resign? Is Boris Johnson going to resign, or could he resign? Is Boris Johnson about to resign, or will he resign? Period. I think 1, 2, 3. Okay, is he about to resign, or could he resign? First card. Well, it's a Tower moment. Okay, it's disaster. There's a lot of bad things that could be the cause of his downfall. Second card, again, trying to decide, how do I keep the ball up in the air? And then the last card, Ten of Cups, happy family. So, yeah, I'd say that no, he's not going to resign. This represents the disasters that keep this question coming to the front. This card represents his just trying to balance his value back and forth to make himself seem worth being there. And then this card here just tells me that no, he's going to find some way to weather the storm, and that's it. The final question then, this will be full Celtic cross, is he lying to the Queen? And is he lying to the country? Boris Johnson. Now we want to get to your relationship with the Queen and country. Boris Johnson, are you lying to the Queen? And are you lying to the country? Are you lying to the Queen? And are you lying to the country? Interesting. 6 cards to begin with, and then another 4 at the end. So we'll find out. Was this 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Are you lying to the Queen? Boris Johnson. Interesting. First card up. Are you lying to the Queen? So this is the Page of Wands. The Page of Wands is the weak court card. Wands are plans, actions. Okay, and this page is uncertain about which way to go. That's the signifier. The second card up is the King of Wands. Okay, and so this king is in control of his actions, and wands are a burning passion to move forward. Interesting. So this page of plans is challenged by this King of Plans. This Page of Wands and the King of Wands. So let's go a little bit further before we try to define this. The base of this reading then is the Five of Swords, and that's the abuse of power. So that's the base of his whole story here, is an abuse of power. So this Page of Wands trying to bring a plan forward. So, what the page does is they bring an idea to the royal court, the Queen being the royal court. So he's bringing this idea to the royal court, and it's all based on an abuse of power. And then when he presents that idea, he presents it as a powerful, as a king would present that idea. The past of this reading, and is disaster, is ruin, and so yeah, this seems to be that he does lie to the Queen. And then the sky of this reading is judgment. Wow. So yeah, I think we're on the right track with this interpretation that he does in fact lie to the Queen. Like the outcome of the first part of this is strength. This strength, I don't know who to attribute to attribute it to the Queen or to attribute it to the Prime Minister. So I'm just going to leave it ambiguous for now. The last part of this is okay, let's shuffle these up a little bit. So is he lying to the country? Because if he's lying to the Queen, you know, is he lying to the country? Is he lying to the country? Is he lying to the country? The self of that question, is he lying to the country? And you wouldn't believe it, but I have the television on while I'm doing this, and there's a scene in this old movie about a tarot reader. Very interesting. Is he lying to the country? Well, here it is, the Hierophant. That's the government. Wow. Is he lying? And we get the government. The next card up is the Knight of Cups. So, okay, the Knight is the warrior of the Royal Suite. Cups are compassion, and this Knight is alongside an ocean of compassion with just a small cup of emotion in his hand. Is he lying to the country? Let's see. Is he lying to the country? The hopes and the fears for that then is this magician. Yep. The person that has everything, all the tools available to him to make something appear the way a magician would want something to appear. A magician is sleight of hand, making you think something's here when it always has been over there. And then the final outcome for is he lying to the country is Five of Cups. So the Five of Cups is really having lost a lot of your compassion, a lot of your this emotional, I would guess right at what's coming out of my mouth is emotional support, and having just a little bit left. So I think that's the case, actually, that he is lying to the country. So just to go over it again, is he lying to the Queen? And we get a Page of Wands. The page brings an idea, brings a message to the court. That's what the page does. He's bringing a plan, bringing a message to the court, okay? And then we get over here next to it. The challenge of it is the strong example this page has to present to the court, all right? They're just a weak message, but it has to come in as a big message. And at the base of the whole thing is this Five of Swords, this abuse of power. And in the past, we just have this tower moment. And then up in the sky, we have judgment. So this tells me, yeah, he's lying to the Queen. The strength over here, I feel like this has to rest with the monarchy. I mean, she has to have the strength the people chose this prime minister, and she has, I think, the idea is that the Queen just always agrees with the people's choice. She's a few steps behind the people, is how I understand how the monarchy works. They're not leading the people so much as staying just a few steps behind, almost like a mother walking behind their child to catch them if they fall. Okay, is he lying to the country? Then the first thing out of the gate, when I ask if he's lying to the country, is I get the government. I get the Hierophant. So this seems to me that yes, he is. The environment that is in the form of a Knight of Cups. So he comes to the people as a knight with your best interest at heart in this cup of compassion, but it's a small cup, and he's traipsing in front of a big river, of a big ocean of emotion here. So is he lying to the people? And then the hopes and the fears for that is this magician is where, of course, what does a magician do? A magician is really a liar for entertainment. And then the final outcome of this whole thing with this Five of Cups is that, yeah, it's going to be more emotion spilled, more compassion wasted than there is left behind. So, yeah, this fella is exactly who you think he is. Interesting outcome, don't you think? And what an interesting person. And aren't you just amazed at who gets to be our bosses, the leader of our country? It's astounding. I wonder if Queen Elizabeth could have done with this little rundown on who Boris is before she agreed to let him lead the country. I'm Mark, My Journey Through Tarot. Tomorrow's another day. Stop by, we'll do it again. Ciao for now. 1, 2, 3. You really make a big difference. Thank you.